situation. Number 3, record everything. Number 4, don't draw conclusions from partial information. And number 5, weigh everything against the Constitution and the 2 laws of common law. Under common law, there's 2 laws: do all you've agreed to do, and don't encroach on other people or their property. The first one, do all you've agreed to do, that's the basis of all contract law. And don't encroach on other people or their property, that's the basis of all criminal law. And we have to understand that the Constitution is contract law. It is between a people and an entity that they created to help them defend their rights. It's contract law. And you got to understand what a breach of contract means. Heavy stuff, but it's real basic, huh? Try to explain this to the DA. He came to our last meeting. It was a meeting like this. We had the DA front and center heckling. It was beautiful. All right. All right. To be added as a Liberty Bell responder, you must understand and agree with the spirit of the Liberty Bell system. Fair enough. Be willing to respond to a call. Yeah, that's a given. And email your cell phone number and name of service provider to libertybell911@gmail.com. And then it has for more information, call this number. This Liberty Bell system took all those people that signed that declaration and turned them into a group of folks that are not going to let any one of us be singled out and bullied out of our God-given, constitutionally recognized rights. That's something that we just did. We didn't ask anybody's permission. We just did it under our natural right. You know, John Locke, who's a swell chap, says that the rights of law and self-defense belong to men and not as members of society. That's true. And we can create a contract and subcontract out that right to a government to help us defend our rights. The Declaration of Independence says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. It didn't say to do what the electorate says, governments are instituted among men. It didn't say to manage everything real good, governments are instituted among men. To protect these rights, governments are instituted among men. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. They can exercise a power that is not just without our consent. That brings us back to the rule of force instead of the rule of law. So we got the Liberty Bell system. We got the Declaration that's changing the cultural tide. We got the Liberty Bell system that is getting people standing together, unified on principles. And we've got the next thing that was in there is the common law court. Okay, I'm trying to run through this real fast because I know we're about to run out of time here. The common law court. This is the biggie. Okay, we didn't create a grand jury to wring the nose of government. We didn't create a grand jury to indict some politicians and pick a fight with the government. You know, oh, we're going to make a grand jury and stick it to the man. You know, the man gets mad when you do that. Here's what we did. We said, our government is a joke. They're so broke, nobody will loan them money. They're so far in the hole, they'll never get out. They've got so many balls in the air trying to juggle that it's all going to come crashing down. They've got 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot on a banana peel. And they can't keep this up. And it would be the height of ignorance and arrogance to think that the fate of our republic would be any different than all of the other republics in all of human history that got to this totalitarian point where you have human beings trying to play God, they can't quite pull it off, and they collapse in on themselves. That's where we are, folks. We don't need to gun down the beast. The only entity that is strong enough to destroy this beast of tyranny that's been lording it over us for so long is that beast of tyranny. And they are doing a plenty good job without our help. So you know what? I got a different perspective when I see these bailouts. Great! Keep at it! Let's have one every Friday! You know? I'm not into ripping Band-Aids off slow. Let's just get this done with. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. You know? Get on with it. And what we're doing is instead of trying to salvage and save and reform this thing that we just know in our guts is beyond repair, we're just getting ready to rebuild. Oh, the relief. You don't have to unpickle the pickle. you can get a new cucumber. And that's what we're doing. It's baked in the cake. So let me talk just briefly about how this common law court works, because it is awesome, it is up and running, and it is working, all right? What is law? That's the first thing we've got to understand, okay? What we think of usually when we think of law right now, and we've got to unlearn this, and Lord knows the only thing harder than learning is unlearning, am I right? All right, when we think of law, we think law is whatever the government says. That's not law. That's statutes and codes, all right? And they're fickle and they're made by human beings. They can be unmade as quick as they can be made. Law, the laws of human interaction, the laws of proper human conduct are no different than the laws of mathematics or the laws of physics. They were created once. They cannot be changed. They can only be discovered and applied. They have the same source, the same origin as the laws of physics and the laws of mathematics. God made them once. He put them into spin in this globe. And whether we ignore them or not, they're there. Their forces are at work in our lives. They're working their magic on us. It's inescapable. They're scientifically provable to the extent that people follow the natural law, the common law, the higher law. Things get better. And when people ignore it, things get worse. And usually the largest violators of these are governments. Because political power now is attaining the privilege of using force on people who have not hurt anyone. Law is force, pure and simple. And the only time that the use of force is appropriate, whether you're an individual or a government, is to defend, never to aggress. And we in America today, the whole world today, have gone so far, we've lost sight of law being a defensive mechanism. And all we see is law as a way to hurt others, a way to exert coercion and force over others. And so rather than trying to restore law, which defends all, we find ourselves scrambling to be the one in control of the arbitrary political power. This is a huge change from mainstream politics. But you know what? If us in this room was U.S. Congress and we were exercising the arbitrary control, I dare say we'd do a better job, but it would not be a step forward. It would just be a shift side to side, because there's no basic difference in a human dictatorship whose power is self-derived and absolute. That's not the rule of law. That's the rule of men. And the rule of better men, instead of worse men, might be better, but it's still miles inferior to the rule of law. Does that make sense? So, here's how the common law court worked. Let me talk about how a judicial furniture, all right? The furniture in a courtroom tells you how they think. I'm serious. Just a second here. All right. You go into a political law court, a statutory court, where there's codes and statutes and stuff. You go in there. Over here in this corner, there's this giant chair. It's like a lifeguard chair. And the judge is up in this chair, and there's all this immaculate oak, looked like, how many Davis-Bacon man-hours went into that chair? I don't know, but a lot, okay? And then the ceiling tiles radiate out from the judge like he's the center of the universe, and the floor tiles radiating out from the judge. It's just magnificent. You almost hear the hallelujah chorus when you look at this chair. And then down here, you've got a desk with a drawer, 2 drawers. That's how much stuff you got to shovel through when you're before this judge. 2 drawers of stuff and a plug-in for your laptop. You got a desk for the plaintiff and a desk for the defendant in front of the judge high up in their chair. And then over here, kind of pigeonholed, satellite to the whole accessory, the whole ball of wax, you got this jury box. And they're just down on ground level, and they're probably sitting in uncomfortable folding chairs like you're in right now.